Hey, everybody. Happy Friday. Welcome back to the table. As I like to say, always good to be here with you all. Couple of things that Spirit has given me to take a look at and, get into some insights, try to get some insights for us. But first, let's start out with a little chuckle, a mutual chuckle, I'm sure. What's up with this new wig that Trump is wearing, right? I mean, social media just went off on it. Had the big bouffant, memes going on with him. That was hilarious. Somebody even said it had to be a Democrat who designed that wig, right? So we'll see if he tweaks it or whatever. But yeah, we know how vain he is. Not surprised at all that he tried it, but yeah, it was for entertainment purposes only. It was really entertaining. On a more serious note, and also on an up note, is Justin Pearson pulled out in Tennessee yesterday, pulled out a win in the Democratic in the Democratic primary for a House seat, a U.S. House seat. And for those of you who may not be familiar with him, young guy, progressive, part of this progressive group and class of politicians that are coming up, only 31 years old. He really came to national prominence a couple of years ago, if you hadn't heard, because he was kicked out of the Tennessee state representatives, the House of Representatives, because of his stance, his vocal stance on gun control. He and a couple of others, but in particular, Pearson has really, his star is rising, and he was reinstated, and he is definitely, on an upward trajectory. It's going to be really interesting to see what happens in that race because of the gerrymandering, right? Right now they're predicting that area to remain solidly Republican, but let's see what happens. It was definitely encouraging to see Justin Pearson win. So congrats on that. All right, you all. I want to look at, Spirit is saying, take a look at what's going on with Janine Pirro. And is she going to be the next person sort of targeted by this administration? We know that a lot came out because in the wake of her deciding to drop the case against David Hearns, the former Olympian who was accused falsely of vandalizing the reflecting pool, right? They realized, that whole thing was a sham, for entertainment purposes only, allegedly, supposedly, right? But hey, it is what it is, right? And I also think David Hearn may be teeing up for a lawsuit. We'll look at that a little bit later. But so we saw that Janine Pirro got called on the carpet, had to go to the White House with this big white box of documents or whatever she had, and that there was a big blow up between Janine Pirro, Trump, and David Burgum, Department of Interior, Lands, Parks, etc. So there was a big brouhaha between them. And, she essentially is like, look, there was no there there. There simply was no there there. So what happens? We get Rand Paul with this whole sham situation against Dr. Fauci, and bypasses a Senate vote of taking the vote to the Senate floor, gets the panel to come out and recommend contempt charges against Dr. Fauci for invoking his Fifth Amendment rights at the hearing. We saw that. So he bypasses the normal legal procedure, which would have been to take it out of the committee, put it on a Senate floor vote. Said, nah, we ain't doing that. We're going to send it straight to the DOJ. Tell the DOJ, hey, heads up, we want an indictment. Do what you got to do to get an indictment against Dr. Fauci. Whose lap does that land in? Janine Pirro's, right? So she's already in hot water. You follow me, right? Is Janine Pirro, Spirit, is she going to go after Dr. Fauci just to save her neck, to save her job? Is she going to try and pursue a case against Dr. Fauci? Is she going to do that to try and save her neck? Or has she been told, essentially, you want to keep your job? Here's your next assignment, and you better not fail on this one. Spirit. Let's see what comes. We have the King of Pentacles at the bottom of the deck. I think this is representing Doug Burgum. Burgum, who was super tight with Trump. Burgum went to Trump and said, okay, since she wants to play like this, Let's see what she does now. The High Priestess and the Two of Cups. Yeah, this is a little collaboration between Frump and Burgum to go after her High Priestess in a sort of backhanded way. All right, Janine, you're still a loyalist. You want to keep your job? Here's another assignment for you. Let's see what you're going to do with it. Spirit, will Janine Pirro pursue a case against Dr. Fauci? Will she get move for an indictment? The Five of Wands, she's already conflicted about it. She knows. And the Chariot. Oh, you know what? Is that Chariot, Spirit? Is that Chariot showing that she realizes her days are numbered and she's already like, I may have to get up out of here? Does Janine Pirro, the King of Cups, and the Ace of Pentacles. I don't think it's going anywhere, you all. I think Janine Pirro recognizes this is yet another losing situation. Pardon aside, and I did have a couple of people reach out to me around, okay, but isn't Dr. Fauci protected? From the research I've done, apparently, yes, Joe Biden preemptively issued a pardon for Fauci related to COVID. And but because this testimony was given after, recently, there's some, question marks around, does that cover congressional testimony, right? And I think that it does. And I think that Janine Pirro recognizes that. There's someone in her ranks, this King of Cups, there's someone else in her, in DC, in her ranks, part of the DC Department of Justice, that is telling her, this is a no-win situation, sister, and you're being put up, basically to fail. You're being positioned to fail. So I think that Ace of Pentacles is Spirit telling us she sees this again as another loser. And I don't see, is this going to go away? Will this go away? The Three of Pentacles and the World. It's going to go away. Leave Dr. Fauci alone, right? Leave Dr. Fauci alone. But because she chooses to do this, is this a resignation, Spirit? Will Janine Pirro just say, you know what, I'm out? Will she resign? Will she voluntarily leave her post? The Fool, she may voluntarily leave, y'all. And the Four of Wands, yep, completion, the sense of, and when I say completion, meaning, and it came reversed, meaning typically a Four of Wands is a card of commitment. And celebration, and being a part of the team, continuing to be a loyalist like she always has. But the Fool says she recognizes it's a fool's errand, that at this point there is no satisfying this administration. And the Queen of Cups, I think that's her. I think that's representing Pirro. Spirit, is she going to move on? Does she realize she's got to move on? And the Princess of Cups moving. So she goes from Queen in her present position to Princess of Cups, starting something new, recognizing that she's got to go someplace else. Because also what was happening behind, not really even behind the scenes, people saw it coming. She could have been disbarred for, she was facing potential disbarment if she had continued to try and manufacture a prosecution and a case, to build a case against David Hearns on that reflecting pool situation. So Janine Pirro it looks like she may just cut the cords instead of going forward with this. Not because she's had any attack of conscience, but because she realizes that no matter what move she makes, this administration, and because specifically she fell out with Doug Burgum, who, billionaire, right? Trump is always going to go where the money is. So he's looking at Janine like, you can go, right? All right. So Dr. Fauci's going to be okay. Dr. Fauci's going to be okay. All right, you all. Second thing I wanted to look at, New Mexico has filed a lawsuit regarding the redacted files and being basically, blocked from checking out what's really happening and investigating and uncovering what really happened at Zoro Ranch, right? So now they've taken that, they've played along, they've stepped back, they've allowed, this investigation supposedly by the government to continue, but they are not forthcoming with these documents, and they're stonewalling, essentially. That's what the officials in New Mexico are saying. You're stonewalling. I'm getting a sense that something around bodies buried potentially at the ranch. Some have already been discovered, we understand, but far enough off of the actual premises is what I saw. But it just feels like something's brewing to blow open around Zorro Ranch prior to the midterms. Spirit, what are we going to see around Zorro Ranch now that this lawsuit has been filed? What are we going to see? Are we going to see hard and firm evidence released to the public about Trump in particular and others around the Zorro Ranch? We had the Ace of Pentacles comes back. And if you're with me, when I see aces, I see that as a yes. Aces, the way I read tarot, aces are a yes. Hard, and it's coming in pentacles. This is evidence that is released. King of Wands, that's somebody in New Mexico. I don't know if that's a prosecutor, whoever filed the lawsuit, but this is someone who is saying, we will get this information. You will not stall us any longer. And here comes the Fool back again. All right. A revelation and a change in the Fool is ruled by Uranus. Sometimes that's change you didn't expect. It could be swift and sudden change, but it takes the investigation in a new direction. Spirit, are there going to be actual... Okay, they're telling me two things. One is the redacted files. Are they going to be able to successfully challenge the redacted files around Zorro Ranch? The Empress. And again, it's coming in all this earthy energy. So, and this is about earth, right? This is about the property and what was actually done on or near that property regarding the Epstein victims. Because there was an attempt to, or desire to, and here comes the Tower. You all, sometime between now and the midterms, Tower ruled by Mars, something is going to break around Zorro Ranch, the Empress, Divine Mother, regarding these mostly women, not discounting what we've heard, around men, etc., that were also victims. But there is something that's going to break in this case before the midterms. And it's going to be bad. The Three of Swords, they are going to be so sorry. The GOP, the people who have within this camp. Spirit, is this going to directly reflect on Trump and his ties to Zorro Ranch? Potentially, allegedly. The Queen of Swords. And the Lovers. Yes. And I get it. Spirit is saying this is someone's testimony within those redacted files that will come forward that will place Trump at Zorro Ranch or some level of connection there. Wow. You all, there's something, this is going to be really, 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 really interesting. This is the tower doesn't play. This is going to be momentous. This is going to be some momentous, like, oh my God. And the Seven of Cups, they're going to be scrambling like, what the heck do we do now? How do we spin this to extricate ourselves? Because you know what? And the Knight of Swords, exactly. How do we spin this? Gotta move. Knights are movement. Swords are communication. How do we spin this to extricate ourselves from this? And there's the Four of Wands. But the case will be, the evidence is going to be tight. It is going to be tight. And this is also a celebratory. I'm almost getting a karmic aspect to this, where there's a celebratory element to having this finally come to light in a way that they're not going to be able to refute. They're not, this administration and their lawyers are not going to be able to refute. And the Two of Swords, what on earth, how do we somehow, some way try to scramble out of this? Because this is also a conflict then within the GOP. Mind you, I'm getting timing wise, this happens right as we're coming up on the election. So how do we save? It ain't even going to be about saving from. At that point, it's going to be about saving themselves. And the Seven of Swords, exactly. Lies exposed, the deceit exposed, and the Ten of Swords. They're not going to be able to. But that's going to be their thing. How do we, at this point, it's like cutting bait, fish or cut bait. So on the one hand, coming up on the elections, you're going to have those who feel like they need his endorsement, Trump's endorsement, to raise money or gather the voters in their, keep the voters in their corner. But on the other hand, Ten of Swords and the Seven of Swords, the lies are out, they're revealed, and are there prosecutions coming as a result? The Four of Pentacles, the case being built, and the Nine of Swords. Yes. And the Queen of Cups. This is someone within New Mexico who's going to pursue, once all of this comes out, they're going to pursue a case against them, against those in the DOJ who have tried to obstruct and not provide these files. This could even be a judge. Thank you, Spirit. This is going to be a judge who says, okay, now that this has been determined, now we got to get ready to move forward. And the Nine of Swords is the stress. Like, it really is, going back to that tower, it really is at a certain point, how much stress can the DOJ take and try and hold it together and build any sort of momentum toward whatever excuses they could give. Not going to happen. The Zoro Ranch situation is going to be a really interesting thing in the next couple of months, you all. Maybe even sooner, but keep your eyes out on that. All right. And the last thing I wanted to look at today is, how about out of the clear, thin blue, out of the blue, Trump turns around and calls Hakeem Jeffries a nice guy and someone he thinks he may be able to work with. I got spray on that one. I just, okay, hold up. Nice guy. I think I can work with him, right? Knowing, pretty much presume that the house is going to flip. Spirit, what's up with that? Does he actually think, or has there been some indication because of Jeffries' ties to APAC and corporate money, and everything comes down to money? Does Trump think, is he going to try and build some inroads, start this maybe even let's be a bipartisan situation with Jeffries? And is Jeffries angling for that? Is Jeffries gonna, that's the question. Is Jeffries, in his desire to be the Speaker of the House, is he gonna make nice with Trump and this administration? Yeah, the Three of Pentacles at the bottom of the deck, the card that works together. And I'm also seeing the three branches there, executive and or the executive and Senate and House. Spirit, please show me more. Is this Trump making that statement about Jeffries is a nice guy, I think I can work with him? Has Jeffries put out some feelers that he's willing to be worked with? The Chariot. Let's get over our differences. Let's keep it pushing. Let's move together. Now, and the Sun. Okay, there we have it. I don't want to go too far and misrepresent that it is on Jeffries to pursue all of this, but I do believe what Spirit is showing us here, you all, is Jeffries is enough of a game player. Three of Pentacles. Let's work together. He wants it bad enough that he's put out some sort of feelers around. I got to be able to work with these people. He sent the signals out. The King of Pentacles, that might be him, and the Eight of Cups. Let's move on from all the nonsense and let's figure out a way to work together. Now, is this being done, Spirit, like saying it but don't really mean it? Is this one of those, I'm going to tell you whatever you want to hear so that you'll let up off of me? Princess of Swords. Somebody's advising him, and the Five of Wands. Right. Don't fight him. Somebody's advising Jeffries. Don't do what these progressives are doing and hoop and holler about dismantling everything. Don't do that. Play politics as usual. Don't fight Five of Wands, or don't fight that directly. Somebody's telling Jeffries, if you want this spot, you're going to, and the Knight of Pentacles, slow roll it. Slow your roll. Be careful. Solidify your positioning. Because we also know, oh my gosh, I don't want to feel this. The Congressional Black Caucus is having issues around progressivism. They don't want these new upstarts coming in here and taking away their shine. Some of them, not trying to speak on behalf of all. We have had stalwarts like Maxine Waters, who's come out recently and advocated for some progressive candidates. So some are seeing the light, but I think that what Jeffries is trying to do, Seven of Wands, exactly. He's just trying to make sure he's got his folk behind him to make him look good enough in the eyes of not only his own caucus, but the House as a whole, and then whoever is in charge of the Senate. He's positioning himself as if, and the Seven of Cups, exactly. I got to pay attention to my options because the Senate race, the opportunity to turn the Senate is certainly a whole lot tighter than it is to turn the House. And that's what he's doing. And that goes back to Trump saying he's a nice guy because Trump thinks he can co-opt Jeffries, who wants the position so bad. He can co-opt Jeffries to play nice with whoever is his pick for the Senate, should the Senate remain in under GOP control. And he's already signaled, Trump has already signaled, he ain't backing Thune. He's already said he ain't backing Thune. So then who's he going to back? And, is this why Rand Paul was hooping and hollering and screaming? Did Rand Paul have a conversation or two that he might be able to take over from Thune? Because we know Thune and Trump are done. Well, not that they were ever, tight, but they're done. Three of Swords, Death, and the Nine of Swords. And the Four of Pentacles. I don't think so. I think I was going down the road. I don't mind admitting if I'm going down the wrong road with that. I don't think that Rand Paul was promised anything. That doesn't mean that he wouldn't like to have it. But Rand Paul doesn't have enough support within the Senate. And the devil. He doesn't have enough support within the Senate. There's a huge contingent within the Senate that understands the ploy that he just pulled with Dr. Fauci and other things that Rand Paul has done. So he doesn't have the pull. But going back to the theme of the reading is Jeffries is playing ball. Front knows Jeffries is playing ball. Jeffries has sent out signals that he's willing to play ball. And depending on who comes out on top in the Senate would depend on the degree to which Jeffries will play ball. And so that's why Frump came out with that. Oh, he's a nice guy, and I think I might be able to work with him. We'll see how that works out. All right, y'all, that's what I got for today. Please take care out there. My workshop tomorrow is the thick of it, the height of the Lionsgate portal opening, right? Time of miracles, manifestation, the veil being super, super thin, all of this powerful Leo energy we've got going on right now. So my workshop tomorrow is going to detail some of that and how to quantum leap into your higher self, like take advantage of this energy right now being afforded to us through the cosmos, right? And source and the divine. We need to hop on it, right? So really, really pumped about doing this workshop tomorrow. Link to register. I've only got 7 spots left. I checked my book before I came on to take. I've got 7 spots left. So if you're interested to hop on it now, I'll put a link to it. My website's a little wonky. I'm sorry. I got to streamline it. You go to my website, trulytouchedbytarot.com. You go to the book online tab. You'll see the workshop. When you click on the workshop, you have to click on 8/8. You have to click on the date, and then you can register. All right. Sorry for that extra step. If you know me, you know I ain't the most technical, but my intentions are good. All right. And I'm so excited for those of you who have already signed up. And so many of you, I recognize the names. You've taken other workshops with me. That means the world, because I love teaching, and this area is where I get super, super amped up. So to see people come back, see so many of you come back for additional workshops, it means the world. It says that you get value and something from it. And if you have taken a workshop with me in the past and you want to drop a comment or two, I'd love to see it. All right. Take good care of yourselves. Have an excellent weekend out there. And chins up. I get that from you all back. You never know when you say something, how it resonates. But this chin up and shoulders back, I hear from you so many of you around that. And truly, like, that's what we got to do right about now. Continue to come from our hearts. Leo, the lion-hearted, right? Come from our hearts, because that sky is above us. It ain't going nowhere. The sky is above us. It's going to outlast all of this. And the earth is beneath us. It's going to outlast all of this, all right? I'll talk to y'all a little bit later. Take good care out there. Bye.